That is right. The position preview right now here at WinDailySports.com, all sponsored by the Sharp app, also Thrive as well. But go to sharp.link, and when you go there, look at that hat, the beautiful hat, the nice, I love the green A in the Sharp logo. But yeah, go to sharp.link, and you can get all the links there to download the app in any app store, whether that's Google Play, whether that's the Apple App Store. Go to sharp.link. And Jason, anything Thrive that you want to tell us about? I know that Thrive, we've been liking the overlay that's been happening the past few weeks. Are we getting that this week?
Yeah, listen, man, there's overlay there. There's ways to win money, and there's ways to get a free membership at windailysports.com. So if you can't afford a membership right now, you want to try it out, you can get 1 month by just going over to Thrive, download the app, using promo code WinDaily, deposit $10 over there. They'll match your deposit. They'll probably give you some free tickets to some contests this weekend. And then we'll also give you a free month of Win Daily Gold. So you check out our projection models, our articles, our live streams, our Discord chat. And then also, man, like if you want to extend that for another 3 months, go to Monkey Knife Fight, another one of our partners. Enter promo code Win Daily again. We have links all over the site. You can hit us up on Discord, email us, hit us up on Twitter at Win Daily Sports. We'll get you signed up there. And they'll, work with us, and they give you the same match deposit bonus up to $100. And then on top of that, we'll give you 3 months free of Win Daily. So you can technically get 4 months free by depositing $10 on each site. They'll match your deposit. We'll give you 4 months, which is worth $200. So there's so much value. We want to give away, these memberships. We want more people in our community. We want you to learn. We want to turn your love of sports into a profit center. So we're trying to do our best to get you involved. And if none of that works for us, John, like if you can't deposit the $10, we'll give you a free week. You can try out Win Daily, use our optimizer, our projection model, all the tools, the resources, the expert chat. Lock in NFL this week, lock in some MLB, some NASCAR, some UFC lineups, and NBA is right around the corner. So, John, what's the promo code right now to get 1 free week totally? If you don't want to even invest $1, what promo code should they use at WinDailySports.com?
Yeah, use NBA 2021, and when you use that, you get that 1 free week, free trial here, Win Daily Sports. And it's the best time, I think, to do it now. So you kind of get that week, and especially now for the weekend, and get to see what an NFL Sunday looks like, all the things we have to offer, and set a lineup using the projection model, which we are going to be using a lot today on our position-by-position preview. Use the cheat sheet, everything that the Gold members have. Check that out for a week and see why that people have won and why people sign up here at WinDailySports.com. And also, if you like it, why it's NBA 2021. It gets you ready for the NBA season as well, which we are definitely getting very ready for here. And we're going to be doing something with Ghost as well. So be on the lookout for an NBA preview with Ghost and myself coming up. But Jason Mezrahi, we do have a position preview. And again, the 1 week free trial, that NBA 2021, the promo code. The link is in the description below as well on YouTube. The projection model. We love the projection model here at Win Daily Sports. And let's start with the quarterbacks for today. Kyler Murray, obviously the top projection, as he is always going to be. I'll ask you this, because the Thursday night game between the Rams and the Seahawks was crazy and all over the place. And divisional games tend to be a little bit different than just a normal regular season game. Is there any worry that just because of the high price at $8K and, just the matchup he has against the 49ers, who are a pretty good defense, that there's a little bit of worry here with Kylo Murray?
Pretty good defense, pretty electric quarterback, and you're giving him a compliment calling them a pretty good defense. I don't they're a good defense. I don't think they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good. Kyler Murray is great. He's electric. He's expensive. The only thing that gets me
pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. If you listen to Larry David, some Curb Your Enthusiasm, my favorite show, and I can't wait for it to it's got to come back, one of these days. But, Kyler Murray, 8,000. We got him on our projection model. He's the number 1 play, raw points. But there's 2 problems with Kyler Murray. 1, he's expensive, 8,000. Number 2, no team is really hanging with Arizona. So this game could get out of hand. I don't think San Fran, whether they go Jimmy G, whether they go Trey Lance, they don't have this dominant run game, this dominant running back. They have Debo Samuel, but I don't know if they can keep pace to get that ceiling game out of Kylo Murray. And then the third problem, which might be the biggest problem of them all, you want to stack and you want to get these correlations right with, a wide receiver in Arizona. Right now, you probably have a better chance picking out of a hat than figuring out. And you would think DeAndre Hopkins, he's the clear-cut number one, but it's not Hopkins having these monster games. It's really Kyler Murray spreading the ball around, running the ball a bunch, and now you got some vulturing of some rushing touchdowns from Connor and the guys too. So it's like it's not the best matchup. It's not a team that can compete, I think, with Arizona. So yeah, Murray is definitely in play at 8,000, but I like that. Look, I wrote up several articles today. I was written up. I picked 2 quarterbacks to write up on USA Today, and I wrote up Dak Prescott as my top guy due to the price, due to the matchup, and then Sticks comes back from Vegas. He updates his projections with all the data he collects throughout the week, and now I see Dak. Based on the base numbers, he wasn't ranked number 2, prior to Nick coming back from Vegas, but Nick actually goes in game by game, project out every single box score, every single player, and he bumped Dak up to number 2. So that makes me feel really confident because I had him high in my projections that I personally do. So having Dak there against the Giants, Dallas's defense is good, and I think they're going to contain the Giants, which might make this game be lower scoring than some might think. But I actually think the opposite. I think, in division game, Giants are starting to put some things together and really working Saquon into the game. The over-under is 52. And Dak, I wrote it up in the article today, it's pretty crazy that they've won their last 3 games. I don't know if you see the game logs, but Dak's put up 188, 238, 237. So,
running the ball a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they're running the ball. They played Philly. That game was never really a game. Yeah. They played the Chargers, where the Chargers defense is pretty good. And then Carolina, their defense is pretty good, and they're running the ball a bunch. And they had the lead, for the most of that game. But I think that Dak will have a bigger passing game. They're not going to let their foot off the gas. And the Giants aren't going to just back off this game either. So the price tag, I like Dak a lot. And then the guy that I like next, the guy that nobody wants to give any credit to, the guy that I know who I want to stack with is Kirk Cousins going against Detroit.
Wow.
6,500. So I think Kirk is in play. And then your boy, the guy that you've been waiting on playing, I hope you haven't been playing him every single week because he hasn't been great.
No.
But
I'm ready for it, though. Say it.
This is the week you can safely play Trevor Lawrence. Look, here's my reason. It's not because Trevor Lawrence is good. It's not because I like Chenault and Marvin Jones and James Robinson.
Those guys are good, though.
The reason I like him is if any team allows the Jets to score more than 0 points, I'm going to start attacking that team in the future. And the Jets actually won. They beat Tennessee. They put up 28 points, whatever the case may be. So that would have me thinking that if the Jets put up those points, that the Jaguars, who have a better offense, better quarterback, better run game, better receivers, they should be able to do the same. So I kind of like Trevor Lawrence at 5,800. I think he might be the best the best point per dollar play on the entire slate from the quarterback position. So I know you can back that up. And you could talk about Trevor Lawrence for a couple of minutes. I know you've been waiting 4 weeks to tout Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I have been, and I thought he looked great against Cincinnati. And I know you can say what you want about Cincinnati. I know they're not the best defense, but it just looked like Jacksonville's offense finally was starting to get a firm grip on what they actually wanted to do. This is an offense that was in shambles by the end of last season. They were in shambles to start this season, but you're slowly seeing things sort of get put together nicely here. And the good thing is they have receivers to throw to and a running back to go to if things ever got going. And I thought Cincinnati was the good spot for that. And I think it's even better spot against Tennessee because we got the Jets going, and I never thought we would see the Jets offense do that well this season. But against Tennessee, it's certainly possible. This is a really good game. And look, even if this is, let's just say Tennessee does end up doing really well and putting up 30 points. Even in a negative game script, we have seen Trevor Lawrence put up 300 yards and a couple of scores before against Houston, and that's certainly possible in this game. So to me, it just doesn't even matter what game script this is. Trevor Lawrence is certainly going to get his share of passes. But the good thing is, too, that I will add on to that, Jason Mizrahi. In that game against Cincinnati, he had his most attempts rushing so far this season, his most yards rushing so far this season, and he had his first rushing touchdown. If they start to use that more with Trevor Lawrence, which we know that can be part of his game, that I think makes him more of a fantasy asset as well. I think there's a good chance that he does have about 10 rushes, that he does have close to 35, 40 yards, and maybe a touchdown as well rushing. So that's only a little bit of added value, but I think it is added value. And especially when you look at the red zone, I don't think there are going to be any touchdowns vultured away from him. I think he's either running it in or I think he's the one throwing it in. So he's going to have a big day. What do you make, though? I want to ask, because of 3 of the 4 top value plays for this Sunday, 3 of them are rookie quarterbacks. One of them making their first start in Trey Lance, Justin Fields making his third, and of course, Trevor Lawrence has started all season. Are you okay with playing rookies right now, and especially a rookie like Trey Lance who's making his first start?
No, look, I'm off Trey. We're not even, we don't have the full confirmation that he's even starting. Justin Fields,
Yeah, that's
no, thank
true.
you. Set, that's number 3, no thank you. You know, the other dual threat quarterback, the guy who's rushed for 5 touchdowns this year, the guy that's going against your Philadelphia Eagles, he has some.
That?
Yeah, it's Sam Darnold. You know, let's take away the secrecy of the play. Look, I don't think anybody's going to play Sam Darnold. Nobody wants to play him week after week after week. Similar to Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson is in a great spot. Even Adam Thielen. We'll talk about Alexander Madison because it looks like Dalvin Cook may not play either. So when it comes down to it, though, Sam Darnold is going to be super low owned. He's scored over 20 points every single game. He put up 36 against Dallas. Yes, he's rushed for 2 touchdowns that game, but he also rushed for 2 touchdowns the game before. So I'm not, and he rushed for 1 touchdown in week 1. So look, I'm not expecting the rushing touchdowns, but even in the game, he didn't rush against New Orleans. He still put up 300 yards passing. He threw for 2 touchdowns, and he got you 22 points. Now you got a matchup versus Philly. Like a matchup versus Philly is definitely appetizing to me. I don't think this Philly defense is a team that worries me much. And our guy, Statsational, I was talking to him earlier today. He's actually backing your Eagles, with the points. He likes them with the points. But at 3.5, that almost makes me think that he believes that the Eagles can win this game outright. Now, that will give me a reason to bump Darnold up even more if they're playing from behind. I think Darnold's just in a spot that nobody's going to play him. I think, people like myself would probably click off Cousins before him. Dak Prescott is only $300 more expensive than him. I definitely would click off Dak Prescott before Darnold. I think people would still, click off Herbert over Darnold because, you're comparing apples to oranges as far as like arm talent and, the weapons he has around him. But I think Darnold is a good GPP play. And the other play in that same range that I do like, there's actually 2 other plays I like in that range. Jalen Hurts. Look, they're technically down by 3. Vegas has them losing by 3.5 or the spread at 3.5. So, technically Vegas thinks they're playing from behind. And Jalen, every single week that he's a
always some value
in the NFL, he puts over 20, DraftKings points. So he's definitely in play too. So that's $6,000 range. Tannehill can bounce back. I'm not playing him. Derek Carr could be in a good spot there too against Chicago. Probably not playing him either. Joe Burrow is interesting to me. I think they're going to be playing from behind at home, and he's looked pretty damn good too. So I think Burrow is kind of interesting. But Darnold's the guy. Prescott's the guy. Jalen Hurts is the guy. And I also have some interest in, Aaron Rodgers. He's 7,100. Still a value play to me at 7,100 on DraftKings. You have Devontae Adams there. You know who you really want to pair him with. But you look at the stat lines for Rodgers, man, like 248, 261, 255. Hasn't really been lighting it up either. So a guy that is more GPP than a cash game play for me. But I think Rodgers is in play too. So those are the guys I'm really focused on. I'm not really going to play Brady, even though he can go light it up against Miami. I just think it's more of a Leonard Fournette game. We'll talk about your boy Leonard Fournette. But it's more of a Fournette game than a Tom Brady game, man.
Is it a Davis Mills week? Are we getting Davis Mills in?
It's not a Davis Mills week, but it is a Houston Texans week, man. Look, I don't see the New England Patriots. We got it at 9.5 earlier this week. I still like it
That's a ton of points.
I still like it at 8.5. I don't think the Patriots will ever put up enough points in this league this year that they're gonna blow any team out. Yes, they're definitely a better coach team. They have equal talent, maybe a little bit more talent than the Texans right now, at least at the quarterback position, the leadership position. But 8.5 points, we got it at 9.5 points. I'm looking on DraftKings right now. It's 8.5. But I think still at 8.5, I still like the Texans here. So if you're making some wagers, the Texans are in play for a bet, but you don't touch this game for DFS purposes. The over-under is 39.5. You just stay far away from DFS, and you do take a shot with the Texans as far as getting the points.
So over to running back. You're tuning in the position-by-position preview at WinDailySports.com, all sponsored by the Sharp app.
Get excited. Hit that value button right now and see who's on the top of that list.
So you want to go value first? I was going to say the projection in that there is a 5-point gap between Derrick Henry and the next guy, but I'll go value first.
There it is. Your boy Leonard Fernando.
I did say that I like Leonard Fournette this week. Let it be known, even though I'm not the biggest Leonard Fournette fan, and I maybe have got him wrong coming into this season. I do love him in this game. It's more about just the game script in general, right? And the fact that we know he's the number one guy, that obviously is a big part in this, but it's also the game script.
Yeah, Fournette's going to be, Tampa's going to blow the doors off Miami.
Yep.
They'll win this game easily. Yep. I think they're going to keep Brady safe. They'll come out, score a bunch of points early, and then it's going to be the Fournette show to finish out the game. Get Fournette some touches, get Fournette some touchdowns, make him feel good in a game where, they're favored by 10, and they can easily win this game by 14 or 20. Brissett and these weapons, no shock to me. Will Fuller's back on IR. Like, this dude gets more hurt than anybody in the league, and he barely plays and he gets hurt. So Will Fuller's out. They don't really have a running game. Brissett's really not doing anything on the field. Yeah, Waddle and Parker, they have some talent there, but Tampa's going to roll over this team. And I see so much value at the running back position. It's going to be difficult deciding on the 2 or 3, running backs that you want, because Dalvin Cook didn't practice again today. It's Thursday. He didn't practice. So if he's not going to play, Madison is in a smash spot, a great spot, a no way he can't hit value spot. He almost gets more volume than Dalvin Cook when Dalvin Cook plays, which you don't, and he's effective too. So he is.
That's the thing. He's effective.
He's as safe as it gets. You can fade him for GPPs because his ownership will be high.
Yeah.
But I really like Fournette a bunch at 5,200. I like James Robinson a bunch at 6,000. I'm not going to go crazy with P-Ryan. He's $4,000. Don't get me wrong.
I was just about to ask you about that. What do you think the volume, the target share was going to be? I think that's the biggest question.
It's just a ceiling, he's been out there before. We've got sucked into P-Ryan before, and there's nothing sexy about the play. Look, it's not a great matchup. They're probably going to, if he catches a bunch of passes, that's where he can, really go out there and exceed value, at least on DraftKings. I'll get some shares. Look, he's going to be the primary back. Mixon, is on the wrong side of doubtful. So it's going to be the P-Ryan show, but the matchup versus Green Bay, they're only allowing 102, rushing yards a game. They're probably going to be playing from behind. So unless he catches a bunch of passes, I don't see a way that he goes out there and smashes, and you can fade him, but you still get some shares of P-Ryan. I wouldn't, if I'm making 20 lineups, I'll definitely have 2 P-Ryan lineups, because at $4,000, you can throw him in your flex. I like him better on DraftKings than on Fanduel, but there's more upside in other plays as far as, if you're going after tournaments and stuff like that. I think you can fade him in cash and tournaments, because like I said, Fournette's only 5,200. Robinson, which I think is in probably the best spot, $6,000. And like I said, if Madison is getting the start for Dalvin Cook, he's going to be $6,000 too. So those 3 guys would be the guys I'd want ahead of P-Ryan. But if Dalvin Cook ends up playing, then you need value at $4,000. You don't really feel safe about the guys who are, a wide receiver or maybe flexing out a tight end. I don't think it's worth going. I think it's okay to play P-Ron, basically.
Yeah, I think you're playing that right, to be honest with you. And you're looking at the value. And look, when the projection model says there's some value on him, it's certainly a play. And look, you could check out the projection model, 1 week free trial here at windailysports.com. You can use it as you're building lineups, and it's for all circumstances, whether you're just looking for projection, salary value, all of it. It's a great tool to use when you're building lineups, and you can use it this weekend if you're not signed up in Win Daily. 1 week free trial, promo code NBA 2021. And if you want the link, that is in the description below on YouTube. Now, the one thing I love for now 2 weeks in a row, that Derrick Henry just breaks the projection model. The projection model is not easily broken. And this dude is not only the top salary at $9K, the top projection at 25.69 points, but he is also second in terms of value. I mean, how are you building your lineups? Because the thing is, everybody knows that Derrick Henry is probably going to have a huge game against Jacksonville. So how are you using that? Are you putting him in just a few lineups, getting very little shares of him, getting a lot? Just how are you playing that? Because Derrick Henry is by far the top back on this slate. He's one of the best values, as the projection model is saying, even though he's 9K, and you don't usually get value there. How are you kind of playing this Derrick Henry game?
Well, Madison will change things for me. So if Madison gets the start, he becomes a lock in cash games, and you want to get your exposure to GPPs as well. James Robinson, Fournette, great plays. You can only technically play 3 running backs. So you can get your value and not pay the $9,000 and just hope that the other 3 running backs or 2 running backs that you choose, they stay in the same range. So, if Henry goes out there and drops 30, if Robinson gets 20, you're still in that same range of what Henry did. You just need to now make up those raw points at the wide receiver or quarterback or tight end position. So I don't think he's a must play. I think I would probably get 35% Derrick Henry. So I really like the other guys too. And, Henry's in the smash spot. We don't have to go over the metrics, how he's on the field all the time. Now he's catching passes, and he's just in a great spot against Jacksonville. And especially, Tennessee's banged up. So they got to win this game. They got embarrassed by the Jets, and
big time.
Henry did his thing. The rest of the teams, do their thing. So look, he's in a great spot. He can probably put up 30 points rather easily in this game, score 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I do want to get exposure to him. And the other guy that I think goes somewhat forgotten would be Saquon Barkley. The entire Giants offense is Saquon Barkley at this point, and they're using him more and more every single week. So now they're getting more confident, getting more touches and targets, and they're going to be playing from behind here. So if the Giants are playing from behind, I actually like Barkley more in that situation. Typically, like with a Derrick Henry, I would prefer Derrick Henry and the Titans carrying a lead in the 3rd or 4th quarter. Same thing like a Nick Chubb type. But with Saquon Barkley, I think Barkley's actually more effective out of the backfield catching passes because he just has this ability to take those balls to the house, kind of like a Kamara type. Kamara doesn't have a quarterback to throw him the ball, but, Barkley, not to say he has the best quarterback around, but I think they're playing from behind in the division game, and Barkley will be, if you're going to come off of Derrick Henry and you don't want to go to the cheap guys that are going to be higher owned, I think Barkley is that guy that's kind of in the mid-range. And John, just to kind of piggyback on what you said before, for that free 1 week trial, we are going to open up our optimizer for free as well for that week. So people can try out the optimizer. And right now, looking at the optimizer, and this will change from Thursday night until Sunday, morning, Sunday afternoon. Right now, Henry's projected at 24% ownership, Robinson 17, Fournette 17, Saquon Barkley drops down to 14%. Now, if Madison comes into play, that will
that drops even more probably.
Yeah, it would drop Barkley for sure. We'll drop Henry too. We'll drop everybody. And then they got Naji Harris currently 16%, Swift 15%.
Swift I like. So 15% is not too bad.
Yeah, 15%. These guys are all good. And then Damien Williams as well. He's filling in for David Montgomery. Don't really like to play too much. I don't have so much confidence in Williams. And you got Fields throwing the ball. I don't know how good Fields is going to do in this game. And he might vulture a touchdown if it comes down to it. So I'm not on Damien Williams by any means. He's currently projected at 15%. A lot of this will change, as we get to Sunday. So make sure, you get access to this tool, you use it, and, hop in our expert chat. I'll always, help people out and kind of give them this information. But that's where we're on from an ownership standpoint. But, those are basically the plays. There's some really good running back plays this week. Outside of that, nobody that really oh my God, let me get a share or two of this guy. It's really a tight. There's so many good running backs that I'm not going to be taking as many shots, elsewhere. Like you mentioned, DeAndre Swift. Yeah, that could be a play. Najee Harris can be a play, but
it's a very tight group of
I feel a lot better with the other guys. I can see a way maybe Hubbard, sneaks in a couple touchdowns against Philly. But
all right, I'll ask this real quick. What if Christian McCaffrey does play? Because it does look like he might. There's a chance that he does play against the Eagles. And the Eagles, we know, have a bad rush defense. I mean, right, that's the thing. He might be rushed back. I don't just.
I wouldn't play.
What if Christian McCaffrey does play?
I wouldn't play him. Yeah, I wouldn't play him. Look, I think they can beat Philly without McCaffrey. So I think they would, and they're winning games right now. So why lose your prized possession? Nothing against the Eagles, but why lose your prized possession against the Eagles? And why rush him back this early in the season when you have aspirations to win at the end of the season? You need McCaffrey to win at the end of the season. Right now, he's questionable. He practiced, in a limited fashion on Thursday. It might dictate something as far as betting goes. We're on the Eagles at the Sharp app. That might change a thing or two for me, but I just don't see Carolina, rushing him back against the Eagles. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm not the coach, so who knows?
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. So as that plays out, go back to Win Daily Sports and look again, get that 1 week free trial. Check out the optimizer, check out the projection model, especially for such a thing like that that's going to be really late. Everything will be updated. And of course, we'll have all the latest info for you here at windailysports.com. And we'll be talking about it most likely on the pregame live stream, which you can hear 11 a.m. on Sundays with Sticks and Ghost. Let's go now to the wide receiver position here on the position by position preview, windailysports.com, all sponsored by the Sharp app. Go to sharp.link and you can see all the ways you can download the Sharp app, whether that's Google Play or the Apple App Store. Projections, some of the top ones, a lot of familiar names, but one guy that's been creeping up more and more each and every week, well, that is DJ Moore. Is he, I hate to say a lock now all the time, but is he just getting so much of the love from Sam Darnold that it's hard to leave him out in some lineups?
Yeah, man. Look, I wrote up this article yesterday. I had to pick two wide receivers. It's DJ Moore and Justin Jefferson for me.
Love it.
Fade him at your own risk, man. If you just think that DJ Moore is not going to do it again, go right ahead. I've heard people say it. I've heard people say it at Win Daily. I've heard people say it at other sites, and people just what if he is? What if he is? What if he is the Devontae Adams of this year? Adams last year. The numbers are pointing towards he is the Devontae Adams of this year. The targets, double-digit targets in 3 consecutive games. He's scoring touchdowns. He's breaking, long, receptions, 39 yards, 29 yards. So he's getting those big plays.
Had a catch out of the backfield, lining up at running back next to Sam Darnold.
He's heavily involved. And now you give me a dream matchup. If he can put up 120 yards against Houston in a blowout, if he can put up 113 yards against a tougher defense in Dallas, why couldn't he do it? And who do you want above him? As of right now, I like Justin Jefferson and DJ Moore as my top guys. With DeAndre Hopkins, 1-for-1, if they both were playing, on one-on-one coverage in the same offense, I think Hopkins is a better receiver. But Arizona has 4 qualified receivers that can go out there and grab passes. Carolina doesn't. even their own teammates are getting upset because DJ Moore is getting all these targets and stuff like that. So I think Moore I'm not saying he's the number one play on the board, but like, call me, a chalk monster, whatever the hell you want to call me. I just think he's going to get a ton of volume. I think Philly's going to stay in this game. I think he's the number one target, especially if McCaffrey's not out there. They're going to have him involved in a lot of different directions and ways. And he's by himself out there. And Darnold obviously has a rapport. And so I love DJ Moore. And also, Justin Jefferson, man, like going against Detroit, he's gonna smash. Like, I don't see a way not to play Jefferson. The only thing that I can potentially come off Jefferson for is simply because I'll have a lot of Alexander Madison. If Dalvin Cook is out, I'll have a lot of Madison, and I don't know if I want to double down on Minnesota unless I'm playing Kirk Cousins. So that's the only question mark when it comes down to Justin Jefferson. And I wouldn't be so worried about it because he's still getting a ton of targets, double-digit targets in 2 of his last 3 games. He's catching balls in the end zone, 20 points in 2 consecutive games. And this matchup is good against Detroit. So you have a good matchup. He's the number one, receiver on this team. So I like both of them. And Adams is Devontae Adams. Look, he's 8,200. Yeah. He's definitely in play. He's definitely a good play. And I will try to get some shares of Devontae Adams if I can afford him. He's in play, man. He's only $5 more than Jefferson. So I think those are the 3 top guys. From there, I got to talk to Sticks, man, because he updated these projection models. I'm a little surprised seeing Tyler Boyd this high. When he put somebody this high, he's in the range of these number one receivers. So he loves Chase. He actually has Boyd above Chase. I always go to Boyd anyways because he's always cheaper. I'm like, Chase is good. Don't get me wrong, but I'll take the cheaper guy.
Yeah, it's not even different. Because I'll just say this with the projection model real quick, because it's not just the value, the fact that he is projected points above Jamar Chase too. That was a little surprising. Value, I understand that. It is surprising to see though that Sticks, we got him projected as a higher point total than Jamar Chase for this week.
Yeah, they're close, man. Like they're really like Chase is getting those like longer touchdowns and breaking them, and Boyd's more the possession receiver, just getting target after target after target. Yeah. So I like the play. And then going back to your boys, I'll let you talk about these 2 guys. But Laviska and Marvin Jones, man, like when they were kind of number 1, number 2. Jones was definitely number 1, and Shenault and Chark were going, 2, 3. But now with Chark not there, there's going to be so many targets to Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault. So they're very fairly priced. And I'll probably take the discount and take Shenault at 4,800. I think he's just as talented. I'll take that $1,000 discount. But I also want to get shares of Marvin Jones because he's been the more consistent of the 2 receivers. So I don't want to go all
he's the one
Shenault.
That has the big play, touchdown potential. Than Shenault. Shenault hasn't scored yet this season. So like that's, I mean, he's going to score at some point. He's going to have a few touchdowns this season. But the one thing that is great about Shenault is he is starting to, I think, play better, and they're starting to get him more involved. And now that DJ Chark's out, but he has consistent targets through 4 games. We'll start from the first game and then down up to the last one. 10 targets against Houston, 7 against Denver, 4 against Arizona, and 7 against Cincinnati. He is getting targeted, and I imagine those targets are going to go up in a game now that they can game plan that he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver. So I love Shenault, and I'll just say this. If you are stacking the Jaguars, you're doing it because you want a cheap stack. So take the player that's about $1K cheaper in Laviska Shenault, because I think he's going to have a great floor, even probably of a better floor than Marvin Jones, because Marvin Jones is more of a 5-catch, 70, 80-yard guy. Laviska is going to get more of the targets. Laviska is going to get probably more of the catches. It's just hoping that one of these can maybe get into the end zone, and if it does, he is going to be insane value at 4.8K. So I love the play, but again, if you're doing a cheap stack with Jacksonville, make sure it's cheap. Get the cheaper wide receiver in Shenault. That's almost 1K less. Obviously, you want James Robinson and Trevor Lawrence, but that's going to give you more room because when you get a cheap stack, you're looking to get and pay up in other places. So I honestly would prefer Shenault in this one. Obviously, you can pivot to Marvin Jones Jr. if you have the room and the cap space, the salary space in your DFS lineup. But to me, Shenault would be the play here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like Chenault better. I think possession, and he's still a guy that's going to be looked to, in the red zone when the time comes. If
Yeah,
you
it's
want
gonna
to get
happen.
off the ownership, a guy that I played the last 2 weeks and he's paid off for me. He's the alpha dog in San Fran. Doesn't really change much who's going to be the quarterback for me. But Debo Samuel, we saw what he did
Unbelievable, man.
before he got
Yeah.
hurt. He was pretty much out all last year, and now he's coming back. Putting up big games. I know one of the plays was a broken coverage play, but even before that, he was overvalued. And then once that hit, he just became a smash play. But 7,100 against Arizona. I think they're playing from behind. I think it's gonna be low owned because everybody in that spot are gonna take guys like Moore and even Keenan Allen and Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson. I think he's kind of forgotten again, even though high over under in Arizona, against a really good team and a better defense than a lot of people give them credit to. So I think Debo for GPPs, playing from behind, under owned kind of play, a little expensive at 7,100, but I like the play there. And we got to keep an eye out. Look, I'm not going to go get overly excited by any means, and I probably won't have any of these guys. But we got to see what happens with the Giants. If everybody's banged up again and they're missing a bunch of players, you got guys here that you have to consider at least, and Kadarius Toney went out there and had a good game when Slayton and Shepard were out last week. So he's a guy that can potentially be sneaky here. He had 9 targets last game, 6 receptions, 78 yards. So he did something with the targets. So got 13, DraftKings points. So kind of interesting. Not something I'm going to go, all in on. And if either of Slayton or Shepard play, I'm totally off it. I'm not going to touch it, but kind of interesting there. Outside of that, the Cowboys are always interested. I think, I like Dak this week. So if I like Dak, I have to, make a decision. Do I want to go with some CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper? They're both in play. I always kind of go, see who did good the last game and go with the opposite
There
guy.
you go.
So
Yeah.
it might be more of a CeeDee Lamb week than Amari Cooper. It's really hard to tell, man, with these guys. Like, it's just they bounce around. And when you think Cooper's kind of dead, he has the monster game. And when you think Lamb is going to be the next, number one receiver, he goes out there and lays a dud, and Dallas still puts up 30 points, So, like, you got to, like, kind of get exposure to both. For CeeDee to only get 5 targets last game, 3 targets a game before. And then the first 2 weeks, he got 15 and 9. It's kind of shocking, but game script kind of changed things. So he's kind of due here, and he'll be forgotten in that range where I think Dak's forgotten, Lamb's forgotten, and Cooper's probably forgotten too. So I think they're a good low-owned play. And I will never tell you not to play, some Tampa Bay shares. They're going to score a bunch of points. I like Fournette. I like the run game more. But, if
obviously they could have a big game.
If
a
Miami
few big
stays
plays
in
from Mike
game,
Evans, and he's going to be putting up a ton of points.
So in your GPPs, nobody's going to be playing Miami. At least I don't see too many people playing them. I'll look at ownership right now, but there's not a high ownership on any of these Tampa Bay guys. Antonio Brown at 5,200 is going to be the highest owned receiver from Tampa Bay. Godwin is close to him, at 6,300. So they're not expensive. And they're in that same range of Cooper and Lamb and Keenan Allen. So I think they're going to be lesser owned than those guys.
You're tuned into the position by position preview. I hope you're enjoying all this great info and also watching me trying to swat a fly away from my face the entire time. I hope that has been enjoyable as well. But now we get to, you talked about some of the Dallas targets, and this comes to one of our favorite plays from last week. Are we going back to the Dalton Schultz play? The Dallas tight end. Is Dalton Schultz the guy again, Jason?
Yeah, man. I wrote up the article on USA Today. I'm doubling down on Dalton Schultz. I also wrote him up in Win Daily. I think there's less risk taking Dalton Schultz at 4,400 than there is in CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. That's the way, it's crazy as it sounds. That's how it's playing out in my head. Dude's getting targets. He's involved. The yak is there. Everything is there for this guy. Last week, 58 yards receiving, 8 targets, 6 receptions, a touchdown. The week before, 80 yards receiving, another 7 targets, caught 6 of them, 2 touchdowns. Even in week 1, 6 targets, 45 yards, no touchdown. But like anytime you get 10 points from your tight end, you're pretty happy, especially if they're in the mid-range. If Travis Kelce gets you 10 points or Waller, not the best of days. But someone in that 3K range, 4K range gets you 10, you're not going to lose your GPPs for that. You're not going to lose your double ups with that. And that's the floor right now with Dalton Schultz. A good matchup against the Giants. I like him a bunch at 4,400. If there was a week, and we got to check the practice reports, and we got to make sure this guy is fully active. If there was a week to play George Kittle, I think this would be the week. At 5,600, he had 11 targets last week, 9 targets the week before. He hasn't found a way into the end zone. Whenever he does find a way in the end zone, and they're going to be playing from behind, I have them playing from behind the entire game. So if they're playing behind the entire game, it's going to be less blocking George Kittle. It's going to be more pass, catching George Kittle, and that's how we want to play him. So he didn't participate in practice on Thursday. So if he gets a full practice on Friday, reports are clear Saturday and Sunday. I think he's interested at 5,600. Not really on Waller. I'm just not going to pay up at tight end that high. And the other guy, which I regretfully will probably go back to, which I don't want to go back to. I don't want to have anything to do with this guy, but Hawkinson is definitely in play too. So
I know you too well.
Yeah, I don't like the dude, man. He burns. Like there's certain players that just burn you every single time you take them, and Hawkinson is that guy for me. Like there's a couple times I just needed like 5 points for this dude to win thousands of dollars, and he gets 2. Terrible. Like I don't like this guy. He's in another good matchup, but again, he missed practice or was a limited practice participant on Thursday, so got to check him too. And then another guy I really hate playing, I told everybody not to play him last week, is Evan Ingram. Now, if the Giants wide receivers are playing, not touching them. If they're out after everybody pretty much got burned last week for playing him, this would be the time to play Evan Ingram. His price hasn't changed. He's still super cheap. So I think Evan Ingram at 3,200. Look, he's still he does nothing with his time. Like he does absolutely nothing. He ran the ball for -3 yards. Great job. Week 1, he fumbled. Great job.
Awesome.
And in both week, he got 6 targets and caught 27 yards last game, 21 yards the first game. Like dude is just a bum. But at $3,200, getting 6 targets, playing from behind against Dallas, I see a path to get 10 points out of him at 3,200. The targets are there. It's not exciting, but if you need value, I think Evan Ingram's in play. And then my sneaky play that for GPPs, if you don't want to go to Chenault, if you don't want to go with Marvin Jones,
we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
Yeah, this dude came off the plane and he caught 2 passes for 29 yards. He just got traded. He comes in, he just plays, doesn't know the playbook, and he looked active, man. Like he looked like he was part of this offense. So now Chark is not there. Dan Arnold at 2,900 for GPPs in a good matchup versus Tennessee. I like to play him, man. Like even when, even prior to coming, to Jacksonville, he was involved. Like, every single week he's getting 3-4 targets. So that means this dude's finding ways to get open. He's $2,900 on DraftKings. If you need that extra $300 or $1,000 to come off one of these $3,500 or $4,500, DraftKings tight ends, GPPs only, I think Dan Arnold's in play. And our guy Statsational from the Sharp app, you if I gave you 10 guesses, you wouldn't know how he won $50,000 last week,
Would not.
Tight end he played. Can you guess what tight end he played?
Don't tell me it was Dan Arnold.
It wasn't Dan Arnold. It wasn't Dan Arnold. It was a tight end you would never think about playing. We'll be here for another half an hour with you guessing. He won all his money playing Mo Alley Cox.
Mo Alley Cox. I love the occasional Mo Alley Cox sighting. I love it. We've been doing this for the past couple of years, and it's great.
Yeah, he's 1% owned. I think he went out there and caught like 2 touchdowns. Nobody had him. He smashed. Like he was ended up being a great play. And for GPPs, you need these type of plays where guys at 2,800, 2,900 that nobody plays, goes out there. There's a path that Dan Arnold could catch 2 touchdowns. We spoke about it for too long now, but there is a path. Just like Uzomah scored 2 touchdowns, on that Thursday night game against Jacksonville. I can see Dan Arnold finding a way where everybody's playing Shenault, everybody's playing Marvin Jones. Dan Arnold sneaks in there, catches 2 touchdowns, 60 yards receiving, and he hits 20 points, and boom, and Evan Ingram goes back out there and grabs 5 points or 7 points, and everybody's on Ingram or everybody's on, somewhere else in that mid-range. He becomes, a really strong, value play that hits.
And look, I know you might have think you've been talking about Dan Arnold too long, but the thing is, there are not many tight end plays I like. I'm probably going to go with the all reliable with Dalton Schultz again. And that's going to be probably most of the lineups I build are going to be him at 4,400. Maybe if Evan Ingram, these wide receivers are out, I'll think about it. I'll think about George Kittle because I agree with you that this could be finally the spot where he ends up putting up points. But there's not a lot out there, Jason.
You want one more guy?
Yeah, look, if you got it, I want it because there's not a lot out here.
Crazy guy that I keep seeing highlights of him like just running people over. I like seeing tight ends run people over.
Yeah, it's great.
And this is one of the reasons why I don't want to play Kylo Murray this week is he's actually targeting Max Williams. So like if you're not targeting like Hopkins and then you have to worry about Green and everybody else, Max Williams got 5 targets last week, caught 5 balls, 66 yards, a touchdown.
Yep.
2 weeks before that against Minnesota, 7 targets, 7 receptions, 94 yards. Week 1, he got 1 target, didn't catch anything. So there is the potential he's not going to catch anything. And in week 3 against Jacksonville, which pretty much was a blowout, 3 catches on 3 targets for 19 yards. Look, GPP only if you want to take a chance of winning the Million Maker and getting somebody who's 1% owned. Max Williams, look, if this game stays tight and Max Williams finds a way in the end zone, he's another guy that's kind of sneaky in that range.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's great with tight ends. Look, again, my analysis is going to be just go back to Dalton Schultz and forget about it. But I think you broke it down pretty well there. As always, here we are sponsored by the Sharp app. Go to sharp.link, and all of the ways you can download the Sharp app can be found there at Google Play Store, Apple App Store, any app store that you can find. Also, 1 week free trial here at Win Daily Sports. Use the promo code NBA 2021. You'll get the optimizer. You'll get the projection model. You'll get all the things that we use to help build our winning lineups, and you get to use it for yourself here this Sunday. 1 week free trial, promo code NBA 2021. If you want the link, that is in the description below on YouTube. Also, Jason Mezrahi, we have some live streams coming up. We got tonight, 8 o'clock. We have Joel, one of the best shows that we have at Win Daily, the College Football Superflex. And then, of course, the best show, Sunday, 11 a.m. Ghost and Sticks will be live, breaking down every single game up until lock to help you with your Sunday DFS lineup building. That is it for us, though. My name is John Jansen. Follow me at jjansen34. Jason Mizrahi at Win Daily Sports, where you can follow us on Twitter. We'll be back this weekend for more, and also be sure to tune in tonight, 8 o'clock, for the College Football Superflex at Win Daily Sports.